beautiful souls, welcome back. Today we're opening the first doorway in our new series, a series inspired by the essence behind Alan Watts' teachings, but expanded through the lens of a higher consciousness, a fifth dimensional awareness that he pointed toward but couldn't fully anchor in the era he lived in. This isn't a study of his quotes, this isn't philosophy, it is a continuation through you, through me, through all of us who are waking up inside the dream. Because once you begin to see reality not as a rigid external world, but as a dance of consciousness, something opens. The world becomes softer. The edges of me versus life dissolve. And you begin to sense almost like a memory that you were never just a character in the story. You were something so much more, right? You were also the storyteller and the story and the paper the story was written on. So today, we're going to explore what that actually means, beyond words, beyond ideas, in a way that your whole being can feel. So let's take a deep breath and begin. Alan Watts often used the metaphor that life is like a dream, or play, or a cosmic hide and seek. It was his way of pointing to a truth that goes beyond the normal human sense of identity. He said things like, you are the universe experiencing itself. You are something the world is doing, the way a wave is something the ocean is doing. Those weren't poetic lines. They were attempts to pull your awareness out of the tiny container of I am the person with this name and this story. But today we're going past the metaphor. In the fifth dimensional perspective, this isn't like a dream. It is a dream. Not a dream as in fake, but a dream as in fluid, co-creative, responsive, and projected by consciousness. The physical world is stable enough to explore, but malleable enough to respond to the inner state of the observer, which is you. When Watts spoke about reality being a dream, he was pointing toward that idea, that the boundary between the dreamer and the dream is not real. And from a higher vantage point, the dreamer, the one imagining this entire world, is not your ego, not your personality, not your history. It's your consciousness. Your I am presence, your eternal self projecting itself into form. Now here is the expansion. You are simultaneously the dreamer, the dream, and the act of dreaming. The dreamer, your infinite self. The dream, your physical reality. And the act of dreaming, your awareness, your attention, and your perception. This triad is the foundation of awakening. This is where we begin. Let's pause the teaching and speak directly, as if we're sitting all together. Most people walk through life in a trance. Not a mystical trance, but a psychological one. A trance of believing that the world around them is fixed, objective, predetermined, and completely independent of their inner state. But the moment you begin to remember that this is a dreamlike environment, something starts to crack open. You start to notice synchronicities. Those little cosmic winks that show you're not inside a dead universe, but a living, intelligent one. You begin to see how your internal world shapes your external world. You notice that when you shift your energy, your reality shifts too. And slowly, beautifully, you awaken inside the dream. This is the first stage of liberation, because the dream is not the issue. Forgetting that you're dreaming is. Watts tried to show this through humor, jokes, and parables. He nudged people toward that glimpse, right? But today, we're not glimpsing, we're remembering. Now let's go a little non-linear, a little beyond words. When consciousness wants to explore itself in a specific frequency, it generates a reality field, an environment that becomes the stage for that exploration. You, as consciousness, decided to localize yourself into the form called you in this lifetime. It's like dropping into a character in a virtual reality simulation. You didn't lose yourself, you masked yourself. And why? Because you cannot explore the dream from the outside. You have to enter it. You had to forget just enough to make the game meaningful, but remember enough to eventually wake up and re-emerge with your infinite identity. This forgetting and remembering cycle is the cosmic inhale and exhale. Watts hinted at this when he spoke of the universe playing hide and seek with itself. But here's the fifth dimensional expansion. The universe didn't hide you from itself. You hid yourself from you to feel the reunion of rediscovering what you truly are. This is why awakening feels familiar, not new. It feels like coming home. To understand this in today's language, we're bringing in something Watts didn't have access to, the holographic model of reality. A hologram is an image where every small piece contains the entire picture, and consciousness is the same way. Every individual is not a fragment. They are the whole localized. You are not a drop of the ocean. You are the entire ocean expressing itself as a drop. In quantum terms, the observer doesn't watch reality. The observer participates in its creation. Your consciousness collapses potential into form. Your attention shapes probability, and your emotional frequency, that determines the version of the dream you access. This is why people living in the same house can experience completely different realities. They're tuning into different layers of the dream. Watts touched on this with his analogy of the wave and the ocean, but here we transcend metaphor and enter experience. You are not in the universe is in you. Not inside your body, inside your consciousness. And that's a game changer. Let's talk about identity, because this is where most humans get tangled. There are two selves. The first one, the character. That's the ego self. The personality, your preferences, your wounds, your memories, your story, your beliefs. This is your avatar in the dream. Second is the player, your infinite consciousness. The one experiencing the character, the one choosing experiences, directing energy, and waking up inside the game. The ego self thinks it's separate. The consciousness self knows it is everything. Here's where the confusion happens. Humans identify so strongly with the character that they forget the player exists. But when the player begins to wake up, life changes. Suddenly, you don't take things personally anymore. You don't cling to outcomes. You feel guided. Synchronicities increase. Okay, that's a big one. You become calmer. You step out of fear, and you become the observer rather than the reactor. This is the beginning of the fifth dimensional living. It's not about leaving the world. It's about seeing through it. When you remember that you are the player, not the character, suffering dissolves. Because the character's story is temporary, but the player's awareness is eternal. Let's shift into spoken flow again. Okay. Awakening doesn't happen because you master techniques or memorize teachings. No. Awakening happens when something inside you whispers, there's more than this. There has to be more than this. Not more out there, but more in here. Awakening is a frequency shift, not an intellectual achievement. Think of it like this. Your mind is the projector, your consciousness is the light, your emotions are the filters, and your beliefs are the lens. Change the lens and the entire movie changes. This is why when you heal, reality heals. When you soften, life softens. When you become aware, the dream becomes conscious. You are awakening the dream from within. Let's go deeper, beyond Watts, but aligned with his core essence, okay? The dream is not neutral, it is responsive. Life is the feedback loop of your own consciousness reflecting back to you. If you live in fear, the dream shows you scary scenarios. If you live in guilt, the dream shows you punishment. If you live in love, the dream becomes astonishingly loving. If you become conscious, the dream becomes lucid. This is why people say reality shifts during awakening. It's not symbolic, it's literal. When you remember you're the dreamer, you begin to interact with reality differently. You become co-creative with it. You understand that manifestation isn't magic, synchronicity isn't coincidence, intuition isn't imagination, guidance isn't external, and signs aren't random. It all comes from the same source, you, the deeper you. This is what Watts was gesturing toward when he said, you are the universe looking at itself. But in a fifth dimensional perspective, we understand the mechanism. Reality is a mirror that rearranges itself according to your state of consciousness. I'm going to say that one more time. Reality is a mirror that rearranges itself according to your state of consciousness. Here is the real turning point. Awakening doesn't happen when you intellectually understand these concepts. No, awakening happens when you notice something subtle. You are aware of being aware. There's an inner observer watching your thoughts, watching your emotions, watching your actions, watching your identity. That observer is not part of the dream. It is the doorway out of the dream. And when you rest in that awareness, even for one breath, you taste what Watts called the real you. The one who is untouched, timeless, and infinite. This is the essence behind every mystical tradition, every awakened transmission. Become conscious of the consciousness that is aware of the world. This is stepping into your true nature. So let's close with the highest perspective. You're not here to escape the dream. You're here to experience it consciously. Life is not a school, it's a playground, a canvas, a simulation of exploration. And awakening isn't the end, it's the beginning. It's when the dreamer remembers, I created this to explore myself. I created this to forget and remember. I created this to experience my own magnificence through contrast. I created this because consciousness loves to play. This is not a trap. This is not a punishment. This is not a mistake. This is the cosmic game, my friends. And you are here and you are waking up inside. Okay? This episode is your gentle reminder you are not the character trying to survive the world. You are the dreamer awakening inside your own creation. You are the universe looking through human eyes. And you are the source playing hide and seek with itself. And finally remembering where you hid. I would like to thank you for being here, for remembering with me, for stepping into this deeper understanding of who and what you really are. This series is not about learning, it's about remembering. And in the next episode, we're going to explore what happens when you stop being who you think you are and begin stepping into the version of you that was always waiting beneath the illusion. The player behind the character, the consciousness behind the personality, the infinite behind the temporary. If this episode resonated, sit with it, breathe it in, let the dream soften around you because you're waking up and it's beautiful to watch.